Hey everyone, I hope you guys are all doing amazing with another video for you today, okay? We just got back from hiking in the mountains and it was just amazing, amazing, amazing. The weather was perfect and it was really nice and cool, and we had a small picnic in the mountains with my son, and it was just perfect. The reason why we moved where I live right now is because it is just so natural. It's incredibly natural and it's just such a good place to raise kids. It's extremely cheap to live in, and there's just nature everywhere and animals all over the place, different animals. So I'm just extremely grateful for all of that. And I know just by being in a natural place, I know my kiddo will grow up to be, one healthy man, basically, and that's the whole idea, right? It's the whole goal for me to raise a healthy man that will contribute to the world instead of taking away from it, right? Somehow, or because he's in pain, right? Anyway, so I hope you guys are doing amazing and you're having an awesome weekend. So today we're going to talk about something really interesting, right? And something that I'm sure a lot of you men out there are curious about, right? So this video is sort of for mostly for men, right? But although I'm sure a lot of women can learn from this too, right? And can either agree with me on my points or disagree with me, right? Which is okay with me, right? So this video, right, is all about how to make a woman want to be led by you, basically, okay? This one is easy, right? Just take a stick out, hit her over the head, throw her over your shoulders, and you got it. You got your woman. That's what we want, right? Ultimately, is to be dominated. I'm just kidding, okay? No. Please don't do that, okay? You're not a caveman anymore, right? Especially because we're not merely animals, right? We are animals, but we're also very conscious animals. We're animals that can think and that can ultimately decide not to do something, right? Or to do something. So we don't just go with our instincts. We don't just go with what feels good or what feels right or pleasurable, right? We can make decisions that are more in alignment with everyone else too, right? Not just us, right? So we don't just we're not just these like cats or dogs, right? That like, I don't know, when given food, right, we just eat it, right, without thinking about what's in the food, right, without thinking, or maybe I should share this food, right? Anyway, so this is what distinguishes us from animals. We're able of reasoning, right, and of selfless behaviors, right? Anyway, so where was I going with this? So in this video, right, guys, we're going to talk about what makes women want to basically want to be led by you, okay? What will make your woman want to be led? What will basically ultimately inspire her to be led by you, right? Because as women, we can't just you can't just make a woman want to be led by you, okay? She has to be inspired to be led by you, okay? You have to inspire her. She has to. It's intrinsic, right? She has to want to do that by observing your actions, right, and your behavior, by trusting you, right, and by feeling secure with you, right? And I'm going to mention all the other things that will contribute to her wanting to be led by you, basically, okay? So, and I will also, in this video, I will also give you like a lot of examples, right, from my past when it came to like relationships, right, my personal relationships, and what made me, like, what turned me off, basically, right, and what made me lose trust, and what kind of did the opposite, right? What made me want to follow the guy, right, that I was with at the time. So let's talk about the first thing, right? So the first thing, right, is before, my biggest advice to you, right, is before you get into a relationship, right? I know there's this movement going around right now, right? And a lot of like women are saying, "Oh, I'm done with relationships," right? And the guys are like, they're hitting back. They're like, "Oh, we're done with you," right? And so males and females, it's the whole like female versus male agenda. I don't know. I somehow think that it ties to, population control, right? Ultimately, that's what this is about. I think if you dig a little deeper, right, this is exactly what the controllers of the world want. They want everyone pitted against one another, black versus white, right, females versus males, and so on. So I think this is part of the agenda, and that's exactly what's happening. But at the same time, there's another side to it, right? And that other side is actually, it's a great thing, okay? Because in order to realize how, in order to heal, you have to go within and you have to separate from everyone else that's external, okay? So in order to heal, you need to go within. You need to stay single, okay? Because this is the only way to heal, okay? Sometimes a bad relationship can drag you down, pull you back, right? It takes you a lot farther from yourself, when what in reality what you need is, you actually have to try to find yourself and go within, right? And you have to rediscover yourself, okay? So sometimes the wrong relationships are distractions, basically, right? And so, and most people are in the wrong relationships, right? And of course, they're learning their lessons. They're with their karmics, right? They're hopefully learning their lessons, right? And they're learning something, right? They're by being in those relationships, ultimately they will realize that they need to, discover that self-love, right? And ultimately that self-love, it requires some distance from everyone else. You have to learn how to develop a relationship with yourself, right? Before, and you need to learn how to love yourself before you can love anyone else, right? And so this is what I recommend for you guys too, right? So if you want to, don't go into a relationship unless you can answer this question, right? So the first question that you have to ask yourself is, am I the type of a person that I would want to date? Be honest with yourself here, okay? Be extremely honest, be real, okay? In most situations, in most cases, the answer is no, right? And if the answer is no, then maybe take out a sheet of paper and write down all of the things that you do need to work on, before getting into that relationship, okay? Because guys, a lot of times when we do get into a relationship with someone, right, we end up, and if we're not healed, right, like we end up damaging another person, right? So it's not just you that is involved, right? It's two people now, and another person with their own feelings, with their own everything, with their own package even, right? And just like you, right? So by getting into another relationship, just recognize the importance of being in a relationship. Recognize that it's not just you, right? It's also another person. So if she's healed maybe and you're unhealed, right? Of course she can help you, right? In a sense, but what about her? What about her? What about your actions? What will they do if you're unhealed? You're probably going to end up like projecting things onto her, right? You're gonna maybe if you have trust issues still, right? You're going to project that onto her, and you're gonna make her feel like she's not trustworthy, right? When in reality, you're the one with the issue, right? Or whatever it is, right? Maybe you have anger issues and you're gonna take it out on her, right? Maybe you haven't learned how to deal with your emotions. Maybe you haven't learned how to regulate them yet, right? And so you're not gonna be as empathetic with her, right? You're gonna call her, I don't know, you're going to call her an emotional wreck, right? You're gonna project you, because you don't feel you aren't able to recognize your own emotions or even understand them as well, you're going to feel like her emotions are too much for you too, right? So you're gonna end up by doing that, by calling her too emotional and so on, right? You're going to end up not really understanding her, right? And having basically having problems in your relationship, right? And so this is what I mean by, before going into a relationship, make sure you heal, make sure you learn how to recognize your own emotions, right? And maybe even label them. You know, I know I just made a video about labeling, right? But when it comes to emotions, yes, you can label your emotions, okay? You know, okay, right now I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way, right? Like, for example, right, I had to learn how to um, label and recognize my own emotions too, because I grew up with a narcissistic mother, right? And she denied all of her emotions, right? She denied them, she ignored them, right? And so that's what I was taught too, you know? And so I had to learn this once again as an adult, right? So it's possible to learn, just like it is possible to learn empathy too, right? So learn how to recognize your own emotions, okay? Don't ignore them, don't detach from them. Recognize when you're beginning to get annoyed, for example, right? Like, I'll give you an example with my kiddo, right? Sometimes when I'm overly tired, right, my kid might do certain things, or he might want more of my energy, right? And so I will begin to get annoyed, right? And so this annoyance, it comes before getting angry, right? Before getting angry, I noticed that I start getting annoyed, right? So recognize that feeling of annoyance, right? Because you know what's next is anger and maybe an explosion, right? Later on, right? So you don't want it to escalate and get that far, right? You don't want it to become an explosion, basically, right? And that's the whole idea with emotional regulation, is by noticing your feelings, right, you can address them before the situation gets out of hand and another person gets hurt, right? And you too, of course, you know, because by hurting others you also get hurt, okay? And your relationship suffer, right? You end up in bad situations. You might end up with a broken relationship, right? That you can no longer repair, right? And especially in the long run, right? If you're not if you're not aware of your actions, right, and how they're impacting others, right? And so, yeah, become good at recognizing your emotions, learn how to regulate them, right? Have certain things that you can do, like, for example, before getting angry, right? If you're getting annoyed, just walk away from the situation. Yeah, you know, I found that, like, by walking away from the situations, right? Like, for example, before getting angry and yelling at my kiddo, I now try to walk away, you know? So, and of course we're human, right? We sometimes we will still, slip up here and there, right? Especially if this is something that you're not used to, right? This behavior. And so yeah, this is my advice, right? Is to learn about your emotions, learn how to regulate them, right? And try to become the greatest version of yourself, before getting into a relationship. Because once again, if you don't do all of that, right, you're probably not going to attract the greatest version, or you're not going to attract the woman that you want, right? Often what we want, right, and what is good for us, they're two different things, okay? So we might want a lot of money, right, but we're still in the poverty mindset, right? Or we might want a really good relationship, right, but in we're still in the mind, we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, right? And we still have a lot of work to do on ourselves, right? So our energy is not going to be compatible with what we want, right? So we have to work on our own energy, right? We have to work on our own character. We have to work on our own stuff before we can ultimately attract the girl of our dreams, right? Or the guy of our dreams, right? So this is how it works, So yeah, what we want isn't necessarily what we're going to get, unfortunately. Okay. Let's see. So yeah, once again, right, I'm going to go back to like getting in touch with your feelings too, right? As a guy, okay, I know you've been taught that you shouldn't express your emotions, right? Besides anger, screw all that, okay? Be honest with your emotions. Be real, because a woman, a smart woman, right? A woman that's good for you, a mature woman, right? She's going to understand that. She's going to actually appreciate you being honest with her, with yourself, and with your emotions. Okay, she's going to admire that honesty, right? When it comes to everything, pretty much, you know. So being honest is once again, it's extremely important, right? And not just being honest with like with yourself, right? But with her, with your emotions, right? With what you're experiencing, and with her, even with her actions, right? If you don't like something that she did, call her out on it, you know? Being in touch with your emotions also, once again, it will allow you to be in touch with her emotions too, okay? Um, anyways, I will tell you a story, okay? So story time here. I was in a relationship with my second ex, right? So my second ex, he was very much a guy that inspired me to lead him, to be led by him, right? So I wanted him to lead me, right? And he wasn't perfect, okay? I will say that our relationship was from perfect, right? And that's the reason why we broke up, also, right? But it was a really good relationship, I would say, especially in comparison to the two relationships that I had, right? And the first one and the third one, right? So the second one was really, really, it was a guy who really inspired me. He was a guy that ultimately made me better. He was honest with me in most cases. Um, and anyway, so I remember we broke up, right? We but we still remained friends, right? Because we were best friends in a relationship, you know. So it's really like we broke up, but it was a very civil breakup, right? And we still decided to remain friends, right? And anyway, so I was really hurt, right? And what I did was pretty immature at that time, right? I was still in uni, right? And then I got out of uni, and yeah, no, I was still in uni at the time, right? And anyway, so um, I got into another relationship like very fast, right? Which was a huge mistake. Okay, I should have taken a break. I should have healed, right? But I was just so hurt, and I couldn't handle like just being on my own, I suppose, right? And anyway, so as I got into that relationship, right? Um, Eventually, of course, we slept with each other, right? And anyway, so hear this out, right? This is crazy. Like, I remember going into the restaurant, right? And me and my ex, we decided to meet just to chat, to hang out, you know? Because, like I said, we were still friends, right? Um, it's hard to like throw away almost like your brother, right? Or not your brother, but your best friend, right? Like, once you have one, it's like hard to end that, right? So I remember I walked into a restaurant, right? And that was like pretty much after we've slept with my third boyfriend, right? And my ex was like, as soon as he saw me, he was like, "Oh my gosh, you slept with him, didn't you?" And I was like, uh, how did you know?" I was like, "How do you know that?" And anyways, at that time, I wasn't as aware. I didn't have my spiritual awakening yet. I didn't really understand too much about energy and so on, right? And um, I was like, "How did you know that?" And he's like, "I can just tell. Like I can tell by the way you're walking. Like I can tell. Just he couldn't. I think he couldn't explain it himself, you know. But it was energy, right? He was able to read my energy, and I was just shocked. I was stunned with how in touch he was with my emotions, and with my energy, right? And so this sensitivity of his, right? It was not a weakness. It was definitely a strength. Okay. So what I'm telling you guys is that by being so in tune with another woman, you're going to make her feel heard. You're going to make her feel seen. You're going to inspire her. You're going to make her happy. She will think, wow, this guy is so in touch with my essence, what I want, with my feelings. This is crazy. Even this sensitivity, which is a strength of yours for men, right? Use it, develop it, and become in touch with another person, and by doing that, you'll be amazing in bed too, right? Like, you'll feel when something is off, so you'll stop, right? Or, you know, you can use this in many, many instances, basically, right? So just use the sensitivity of yours. Don't just like discard it, right? No, I'm just this rational being, right? I'm gonna be rational. I'm gonna be like a robot, right? With no emotions. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not the way to go, okay? Because like I said, right, you will be able to, like my ex, right? You'll be able to just, you'll be able to do incredible things, basically, okay? You'll almost have like your superpowers, and it is kind of like superpowers, right? So it will be hard to even trick you or deceive you, right? Which is ultimately which makes you strong. It makes you strong in every aspect of your life, right? In the business world, with clients, with people, right? Which ultimately, this sensitivity of yours will ultimately develop or make another woman trust you and want to be led by you, because she will see how in tune you are with other people and how it's hard to pull one over on you. Do you understand? So yeah, that's um another another advice to you is, face your fears, right? And learn to take risks, okay? Guys, without risks, we have nothing in this life. We will accomplish nothing. We will not have a good experience, okay? If we're afraid, always afraid of things, right? Afraid of speaking out, afraid of trying different things, afraid of, I don't know, even our shadow, right? By not taking risks, right, just learn to take them, go outside of your comfort zone. If you're afraid to speak to women, for example, try to start speaking to them. Just the worst, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Write these down, like, what's the worst that can happen? She will say no. Okay, so what, right? Like, next, next and next. Like most women, for example, right, they want to be spoken to. They want to be spoken with, I really always like appreciated guys like coming up to me on the street, right, and speaking to me, and like, I was like, okay, this is cool. This guy has guts, So this like, if the woman is right for you, right? If she, not every woman is going to be right for you, right? So, but eventually you'll meet, it's just like, it's a numbers game, right? Like they say. And it is true, you don't even need like any cheesy pickup lines, to be honest with you. If I saw a guy and I liked his energy, right? Like I said, work on yourself, work on your energy. If I liked the guy's energy, I was like, without even hearing any cheesy pickup lines, right? I was interested. I was like, okay, interesting. And if he's confident, right? Which people can tell, right, if you're confident or not. Yes, of course, you can fake it, right, to an extent, but not in the long run, right? So develop that confidence, like, and one way to develop that confidence is to actually face your fears, right? To do the things that you're afraid of doing. I instantly admire a guy who faces his fears and who just goes and does what he wants and what scares him, hard worker also inspires me, you know. So my ex was always a very hard worker, right? In the gym, in school, and you know, just like eventually he went on to um, he worked for a hedge fund, right? And then I believe he opened his own or something like that, right? So, you know, and he also worked for a hedge fund for like a very long time, you know. So I think it was like 9 years or something. I don't know, right? But it was like a very long time. So the fact that he did that, right, just showed his dedication to something, you know, and commitment, which is beautiful too. We want to see, as women, we want to see that consistency, right? That commitment, that dedication, right? Every time I see like a guy, for example, in the gym, right, just grinding it out every single day or like every other day, right? If he's really consistent and I see him in the gym, like just working his ass off, you know, on his physique, for example, right? He automatically like gets credit, you know, from me. Like I really admire that dedication and that consistency, you know, because without consistency, right, you will not get anywhere, you know, without being dedicated to something, right? So that dedication and that consistency, if she sees that in you, right, then she will instantly be inspired to be led by you. You know, I promise you that. Um, let's see. Um, Yeah, another thing is, right, is you know, just learn how to be happy on your own, you know, learn how to, I'm not saying to not have friends, right? Of course have friends, you know, but learn how to be happy and content on your own, you know. Learn how to get out of that, you know, like hive mentality, right? Like learn how to think for yourself by yourself, you know. Don't just do things because everyone else is doing them, you know. um that I think that's extremely important, you know, because leaders are ultimately are usually very people that think outside the box, you know, and they think for themselves, right? So um and you know, they don't just agree with others because everyone else agrees with others, right? um they're not afraid to call, you know, stuff out, right? They're not afraid to say, okay, no, I don't agree with this, even if everyone else thinks a different way, in a different way, right? So yeah, just get out of that back mentality, right, and learn how to think for yourself. Okay, that also will inspire women to want to follow you. um Once again, right, learn how to work out and get stronger, and learn about diet and nutrition, right? We as females, we want to see a strong guy. We want to, why is it so attractive? Because learn how to defend yourself, you know, take martial arts, take boxing, I don't know, right? But learn how to even learn certain maneuvers, right, that you can use just in case, right? Guys, you have no idea in how many situations I've been with my third ex that where I had to defend myself, okay? And this was like, trust me, as a woman, it was such a turn off for me, okay? Because I expected him to you know, jump at a chance to defend me, right? And to be there for me and to be on my side, on my team. But when he wasn't there for me, I felt really disappointed, and you know, I felt like I was the man in the relationship, right? And he was the woman, and he was disappointed too. I felt his shame and his guilt, right? And I was disappointed because I had to I had to be the one to be the man, basically, right? And that's not what I wanted, you know. And but that's what I had to do, right? Once was an instance when I was at a bar, right, with him, and my like another guy just came up to me, just started flirting with me and getting like handsy, right? And my ex didn't do anything. He was just like, he went like this basically, right? Because the other guy was bigger, he seemed stronger, you know, and my ex just got really afraid, and I had to speak out for myself. I had to tell this guy to like back off, right? So I had to defend myself. This made me feel really unsafe. it made me feel like I didn't have a good partner by my side. Okay, so that's why I'm saying, and there are many other instances, right, when I had to defend myself, basically either verbally, right? Well, mostly verbally, thank goodness. But yeah, just make sure that when you're with a woman, that you know how to protect both of you, okay? And don't be afraid. Um, you know, get a pepper spray if you have to, learn how to defend yourself, get in shape, okay? That's why us women like fit men, right? Because your strength, it's not supposed to be just my ex, he worked out, right? He was fit, but as one guy like joked, I think it was like on Comedy Club or something, he was like, oh, these muscles are like just for show, right? Like, so don't just get muscles that are just for show, right? um or like steroids, right? Like when guys I know that like my ex, he did steroids, right? And he got these like huge muscles, right? And then like when he stopped taking them, they just kind of like deflated. And I was like, I watched it happen pretty much. I was like, huh? Like, what is going on? you know so like, don't be like this show off, or like this Ken doll, right? That like just has this attractive physique but doesn't like actually know how to use your body, right? Like, learn how to use your body. Get strong, okay? Learn how to protect yourself, learn how to protect the female that you're with, and will feel safe with you, will trust you, you know another advice, and I think this is the last one, right, is learn how to trust yourself, okay? Be trustworthy. Make sure that the relationship you're going is actually the one that you want to be in. Don't just use people, right? Like, for your own advantage, right? I mean, for your own benefits, right? Don't just use females because you want to get laid or something. We're not sex dolls, we're people, right? We're just like you, with feelings, with emotions, we get hurt, right? So don't just play with other people's emotions, because this will come back to bite you in the ass, and what comes around goes around. Karma is very real, okay? So if you play with other people's emotions, right, then this will come back to you, and someone else will play with your emotions, So make sure you actually want to go into a relationship with this woman, right? Don't just try to like, first of all, by having like a million women that you text, right? You're wasting so much of your precious energy this way by replying to everyone, right? By speaking to everyone. You're creating energetic cords, right? Which will ultimately, you'll pick up on their emotions, right? Be it negative or positive, right? Which will weigh you down too, okay? So this will impact you in that way, right? But also it's all of this energy that you're giving away, and then you're wondering why you're so tired, So don't, like, try not to engage with females if you're not interested in her.